Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast. Travel Market Life.
Travel Market Life is backed by Haynes Marcoms, a B2B marketing communications PR consultancy specialising in the technologies, travel, hospitality and property sectors. Create meaningful connections and visibility to grow. Haynes Marcoms cuts through the noise to resonate with target buyers, decision makers and influencers. From contextualizing your mission to positioning your value proposition, Haynes Marcoms helps you address the issues that matter. Marketing, PR, and social. Build profile, gain momentum, shape strategy with Haynes Marcoms.
Travel Market Life.
Joining me now is Angeliki Krania, a Senior Sustainability Manager at Lamington Group. Thanks ever so much for coming along and talking to us today, because I know you've just launched a brand new hotel and has sustainability being a real hot topic right now and a difficult one for hotels. I'd love to find out a bit more from you today about how can the industry really incorporate sustainable practices and approaches to design and development.
Hello, Ryan. Thank you for inviting me here today, and I hope I can be of help. In terms of areas where hotels can innovate a bit and introduce sustainability in the hotel design and construction, I think that it's incorporating design principles within the hotel during the design stage of the hotels, which is designing less or choosing natural material or prioritizing local and focusing a lot on creating timeless spaces with a focus on the people, like designing for the people mainly. I think that it's a bit about introducing green infrastructure within the building and making sure that they're targeting energy efficient systems and introducing, if possible, where possible, like renewable resources on site as well.
I mean, it's fascinating. There's so many different aspects to it that you've got to be considering, but obviously there are frameworks in place by the sounds of it. And you've been working really hard within the Lamington Group to actually apply this to your properties. Was this sort of like really the starting point when you launched this new business, new property in Belfast?
I think that it started a bit before. The first property where we engaged with sustainability and we did quite a lot of work with it was Chiswick. So when we last Chiswick, Room 2 Chiswick, it was the first hotel to be designed to a net zero standard. And what net zero means, that's a bit of a difficult topic nowadays. So net zero, whole life net zero hotels means two things. Looking into the operational carbon from your property and the embodied carbon of your property throughout the lifespan of the building. So from when we look at the embodied carbon side of things, we're talking about the extraction of raw materials, changing or designing for less, and then transferring them to the site, building the site, then operating the site. It's the operational carbon. While you're operating the site, you still have some embodied carbon through the refurbishments or renewals of the building. And then towards the end of the lifespan of the building, how do you dispose of it as well? That's in short like a net zero, whole life net zero approach when designing a building.
I mean, let's start with the first part, because I mean, you've got some really interesting perspectives on that, particularly, how we look at our forefathers. And we're only talking a couple of generations ago, where you actually sort of recycled and reupholstered and reused. But there's also this aspect of utilizing or recycling different types of materials. Tell me about some of the applications and approaches that you've taken there.
So when we are designing a new site, What we prioritize quite a lot is, we look at the buildings like material banks. So if you're building a new building or if you're refurbishing an existing one, we look a lot at the long-term value of the elements in the space. So for an existing building, we try to maintain as much as possible of the original construction, and then we start building on that. When we're building a new site, then we are making sure that we are maximizing the recycled content that can go within the space. So we have reclaimed steel. We will be using like high GGBS content in our concrete. These are like the hard elements, the big bits in the building. But also when we are designing the space internally, we prioritize quite a lot sourcing existing resources. You will see that if you walk around, for example, on Belfast, our newest one, you'll see that we have a counter, like we have the reception area at the reception table that is made out of recycled bottles. Or if you walk around the breakfast and cafe area, you'll see that most of the tables, they have reclaimed tiles. Some of our tables are vintage. We've sourced locally and vintage items. We have that my favorite one is a table that's made out of train sleepers. So basically we've reclaimed that and we've turned them into tables. So there's lots of bits and pieces around the hotel during the design of the actual building, but also during the interior design of the building, where we've incorporated quite a lot of sustainability.
That's fascinating. How did you source the right partners then, from the interior designers to the property developers that were actually going to be able to build to the sustainable values of Lamington Group?
So this is very challenging because there's no straightforward answer as to who is a sustainable supplier, if that makes sense. Apart from certain big suppliers that they do have accreditations that can back up their claims in terms of sustainability, we try quite a lot to source locally. And we try quite a lot to boost the local economy where we build. Like, we're very respectful of the local economy, and we try to boost that. So how do we get the right suppliers? So we screen them. We have a sustainability procurement policy, and then we have a survey that we send out to all of our suppliers or potential suppliers, and then we screen them based on that, see how they perform against different criteria around ESG, environmental, social, and governance. And then we have a ranking behind that, and we balance the sustainability, of course, with the cost of it. And this is how we sort of pick our partners and pick our suppliers. But we're always looking to any opportunity for us to use existing resources before choosing a new resource, and at the same time looking on the environmental impact of the materials that we choose, whether or not they're very high in terms of chemicals, like the chemicals concentration, how healthy is this material for the space, because at the end of the day we do design for the people, so we want this to promote healthy air quality, to have access to natural light. Like, we always think, like, our principles are more around not choosing natural, prioritizing local, going for a timeless space, and designing for the people.
That must be really fun, actually.
Yeah, it is really. It is super creative, no?
I mean, you're problem solving, as well as you say, trying to bring that real eco angle to it at the same time. So, there I can see that feel good factor in what you do. But as you say, finding the right materials, making sure that they're made up correctly. I mean, one of the things that I found fascinating recently when I was talking to a fabric supplier, in fact, was that they, went on about their credentials around reusing or recycling plastics, particularly in their synthetic fabric materials, and that you have to be careful because there are actually companies out there that are producing bottles that are just going to be straight back recycled and don't ever actually enter the consumer chain. So it's as you say, you've got to be very careful of the certificates that are in practice and check that they actually meet your values, and it's just not it's just eco for eco's sake.
Yeah, this is why we have the survey, and this is why we're screening our suppliers. But then there are frameworks that help quite a lot. For example, B Corps. Normally, like, companies that they are B Corp certified, they've gone through a very strict audit mapping out their supply chain, understanding where the income comes from, where the materials come from, how they operate, even the buildings where they produce the materials, like they're being assessed against all sorts of areas. So it is a very challenging field to navigate. But I think that we need within the next, because it's a data issue, end of the day, I feel like within the next 2 to 5 years, we will have a lot more clarity about our supply.
I mean, yeah, let's just touch on that actually about the supply chain, because I guess you've got to look at sustainability beyond just who the building and how do you
First of all, we have a sustainability team, but it's 2 people. It's me and a sustainability officer. And as a business, as Lamington Group, we have 2 campaigns, 2 internal campaigns. One of the campaigns is called Team Planet, and the other one is called Culture Club. So Team Planet is educating the staff. Like we have a session once per month where we're educating our staff around sustainability principles. We are following a framework called One Planet Living, and One Planet Living has 10 principles around that span around health and well-being, energy, waste. So every month we have a session about one of these topics where we explain the topic, and then we explain the standards, and then we explain how we deliver this as a hotel, and how they can help us meet our wider sustainability strategy. In terms of the different people that we have on site, like as you said, the GMs, what we do is we have knowledge bite sessions as well as part of that, where we have mapped out where the impact of the different functions of the business, like where the function of the different functions of the business impact the wider sustainability agenda, and we have trickled down the responsibility to the people on site. So if, let's say, I have a GM that is choosing what type of beverage is going behind the counter, he's already aware. It's questions that other suppliers are going to be able to answer easily, like bigger suppliers. If you're supplying from, I don't know, let's say Coca-Cola, they're going to have that readily available. Then you have smaller suppliers, which we would like to prioritize because you want to source local, that they're not going to have readily available that information. And for that reason, we provide education to them. We have prepared presentation or educational material where we say, okay, we've asked this question. We're not going to penalize you if you've not get there in your journey yet. However, here's are some resources. As time passes, we're not going to be the first one asking this question. It's good if you engage with the topic. So it's a bit of a balancing act, and it's not a straightforward answer. We choose this over this. It's more assessing case by case, but we train very well our staff to be prepared. And then if they hit a roadblock and they have questions, they always come to sustainability and we discuss about it.
I can see, the challenge, as you say, there's one thing sourcing locally, but there's another thing sourcing locally and sustainably, and actually local businesses having a lot of those processes and policies in place. And that takes time, that takes education, and you're certainly part of that puzzle to help influence change amongst more local businesses. Now, I know that there is a wider business case for sustainability. It's not just about climate change. Can you talk us through some of the key impact that it has commercially to businesses?
I think that there are a few things. When it comes to the business case for sustainability, you have economic benefits, you have long-term value, you have brand reputation, and you attract more conscious guests. These are the 4 things from the top of my head. In terms of economic benefits, you have cost savings. You have waste reduction, definitely, or you're repurposing your waste. You have automated processes. On the energy side of things, you have properties that they use a lot less energy as well. They use a lot less water. In terms of the long-term value, I think that there is a thing that needs to be mentioned. I think that it's a lot about risk mitigation. We've seen quite a lot of the impact of climate change, especially this summer. So by reducing the environmental impacts and adopting more resilient practices in the hotel sector, you can mitigate risks that are associated with climate change and natural disasters and avoiding very costly damages. For example, designing a property that is designed for flood mitigation, it's self-explanatory, or having a blue roof at the top of your building sort of concentrated, like the excess water, rainwater. These are things that future-proof your building. It definitely helps with the brand reputation because a commitment to sustainability enhances the brand reputation. We've attracted a lot of press with Chiswick. When we opened Chiswick, it was advertised as the first whole life net zero hotel, and we had a lot of press, and we have lots of guests as well that they're really connecting with the brand because of it. Because at the end of the day, it's a lifestyle that we're pushing for. It's a change. We're not going to be sacrificing comfort or the comfort of our guests. It's just that we will be doing business in a better way, I think. And we're following standards and frameworks like Net Zero by UKGBC. UKGBC is UK Green Building Council, which has a lot of guidance about what is net zero, what is biodiversity, how to go about your offset. So there's so much information available. We have been certified by Green Tourism, which is a recognition of our efforts. And we have very high BREEAM ratings as well. Our EPCs for the newest properties are both A, which means they're very energy efficient properties. But yeah, the past year we've been receiving lots of awards because of these strategies, which is great because it sort of gives us exposure to audiences that we wouldn't have otherwise. And I think that it invites for a healthy competition between us and the rest of the industry. We definitely want to educate the industry. We definitely want to take everyone on board. Sustainability it's all of us or none of us.
That's excellent. I mean, congratulations on all of that. And as you say, those guests that are very conscious around sustainability would already recognize a lot of those certifications and the awards that you've got. How do you engage, though, maybe some of the wider guests in that? And why is it important to really engage guests in those sustainability practices?
So we do quite a lot of guest engagement, but in a very subtle way. So we have the pre-coms where we educate a bit our guests about our property, like it's sustainable property. You may see certain things on site that you can interact with. There is a sustainability wall. When you enter all of our properties, you'll find a sustainability wall where you can play around on an iPad with the different initiatives in. And also we have quite a lot of gamification on site. So you walk around on the site and you reach the elevator and you may get a prompt, why not take the stairs? Or when you're opening a window, there is the gamification aspect of it. Did you know how much energy you would save if you just close the window when you have the aircon on? The other way around, just make sure that your aircon is off whenever you're opening windows. And I think that you take that back home, and it's a big piece sort of learning from the space, because the spaces we occupy really change how we experience life, no?
Absolutely, yes. I certainly agree. So, Angeliki, finally, we're going to come to a question that is really a hot topic again in the industry. Artificial intelligence meets sustainability. Where are you seeing and exploring the role of AI currently?
Generative AI is going to be the new internet. You can automate a lot of things around your property, gathering the data and filling in the gaps where you don't have the data, understand how your asset is performing, occupancy patterns, and how you can optimize the way you operate your property, how you allocate the rooms, or how your systems mechanical systems are working within the space. That's definitely an area where it can benefit. And at the same time, energy usage within the space. How do you use the energy within the space? For us, the area where we would be utilizing AI in the near future is probably the lab room. So we have been collecting data. We are collecting data on energy, water, and the different splits, the energy drivers. So we will understand what are the patterns, and then how can we improve existing and future designs to reduce the consumption, basically. Reducing waste, definitely. I think it can help if you have visibility over your waste. You can understand your waste patterns, and you can definitely improve on that. If I knew that I had X amount of waste made out of paper, then maybe that's a resource that I can use. I can monetize that. The other area where AI can help quite a lot is during the design stage. So the typical engineer can probably test 10 scenarios of a hotel design, but you can test 1,000 different design options for a building. in a click of a button, and you can have the results in like within half an hour. So we're talking about a lot more options. So I think that our designs are going to be a lot more like detailed and maybe more intelligent the way we design.
That's brilliant. I mean, as you say, you know, there's so many different ways and places that you can utilize AI. And I know that AI has been sort of explored a lot more within architecture and design. And I think we've seen some very interesting results as a consequence of that. Angeliki, that's been a fantastic exploration of hotel sustainability and really informative. And, you know, congratulations on the recent opening of the Belfast Lamington Group Hotel and, you know, what you've achieved from a sustainable standpoint.
Thank you very much for inviting me here today. I've had a lovely time. I hope I helped. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Angeliki. Thank you again. So that was Angeliki Krania, Senior Sustainability Manager at Lamington Group, really exploring that hotel sustainability there. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to drop us a line, either on my email, ryan@hainesmarcoms.agency, or through the LinkedIn channel, and we will be in contact and we will share these questions of Angeliki, and know that she will also be available if you want to connect with her on LinkedIn. For all of our podcasts, head to your podcast channel, whether that is your Apple, your Deezer, your Spotify, or now on Amazon Alexa. I'm your host, Ryan Haines. Thanks ever so much for joining me.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haines Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.